What's up, guys? Welcome to Dark Zone Junkies, a Division podcast here on Nerds Gone Rogue. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me, as always, on the far right of your screen, the wise Wisconsinite Jesse Douglas. And then, right next to me, on the right, the host of Nerds Gone Platinum, Jason Marshall. And then over here to my left,
we're going for that Wonder Years intro.
Yeah. Wow. That's a deep dark pull. And to my left over here, finally getting a microphone, debuting it here on Dark Zone Junkies, Moose, the Moose. Cool. Wow.
What's up? All right, people. How we doing?
Full
yeah,
house.
we're not men older than 30.
Oh man.
No way.
Wow. Wow. Full house here on Dark Zone Junkies tonight. Mm-hmm. Man.
Yeah.
Guys, we're almost official. We have a semi-real email account up here on the upper right.
Nice.
We've got a Twitter feed right here, right underneath me and Moose. It's insane. It's like
nice.
It's like our 6th or 7th real podcast we're doing.
It's amusing when you do that because I'm like looking, I'm like, who's on the right? What? I don't see that.
Yeah.
What?
Well, to be fair, I'm going by the way the OBS screen looks. I'm not going by the way the Skype screen looks because the Skype screen, everybody's just kind of all over the place. So it's just kind of like, whatever. We need to find that happy medium between Skype and Google Hangouts. There's got to be something else, right?
I think it's in person.
Yeah.
Guys, let's just all move into a community home and just make content and just live off the land, as they say.
It's like Big Brother, Nerds Gone Rogue edition.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, man. This is definitely gonna be longer than 30 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Jeez. All right. So what we kind of want to dive into, last week was our pilot episode. Kind of have a little bit of a format going, but today we're going to talk about the Division 2 and what we kind of want to see changed from the Division 1, what we liked from the Division 1 and what they can get rid of, and see if anything from these other games as a service style games that are out there, even games like Fortnite and PUBG and Call of Duty, and even something single player like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Obviously we would probably bring up Destiny and the Division 1 and soon Anthem. We're going to probably pull all those into the conversation a little bit and try to see if Ubisoft can learn from these and try to avoid some things while kind of pulling good ideas from other things. So, well, Jason and Moose, since you guys weren't here last week, you guys are clearly excited for the Division, right? I mean, yeah.
Can't wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I actually dove back in about a week and a half ago and played a little bit with all the updates and stuff because I hadn't really played since that first year, right? Mm-hmm. So,
because you had your information erased on your PS4, right? Yeah,
that second update, that was going to be my first platinum trophy, and then I just decided never to get one again until Horizon came out. I was
I'm gonna be honest, is the better platinum trophy. So. Yeah. I'm glad you got that as your first one.
But I was 3 trophies away from getting the platinum in the Division. Then it's just they're like, hey, you got an update, and this update's gonna murder your character. Just goodbye. So.
Yeah, and we played for a while there with Ed, but then we were having hard time finding time to play with Ed again, so we just kind of dropped that for a while because we wanted to kind of do the 3 of us on that.
Yeah, we were starting to play through it, and then Ed has a way different schedule than we do, so it's kind of hard to record stuff with Jesse and Ed sometimes because we're all on different work schedules, and this is like Saturday's the one night where Jesse and I can do stuff, so this is where Dark Zone Junkies is coming in. But anyways, I really liked what I played going back in with the updates. I like how the level scaling of the enemies works much better than it did in the first couple months. Ed was level 17 and I was level 8 or 9, I think. And I still felt like I was doing damage to these enemies, right? I was still taking guys down. I was still getting shots and not emptying 3 clips into somebody because they were scaling to Ed. Like, the scaling was way better. It
was more of a middle ground
yeah.
between the two of y'all, which is nicer.
Yeah.
Instead of being maxed at like his level.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that's the last time I played it. That's what it was.
Yeah,
like it would be at the top of whoever the highest person was.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's good.
And we played probably for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it felt really good. Like the one thing that game does really well too is the cover based shooting works really well. Jesse and I have been playing through Gears of War 4 for squad goals on Arsenal X, and as much as I like Gears of War, some of those mechanics feel a little dated. And I think Ubisoft kind of took that format that Gears started on 360 and kind of moved it into a place where it feels like a natural growth, right? Kind of like when Gears kind of made that leap from Resident Evil 4 and games like that and took that cover-based shooting into a whole new thing. I feel like The Division really does it well. And the shooting feels good. The guns feel great to shoot. Getting behind cover or throwing grenades or using your tech to heal people, like it all feels really good, and so I hope they keep the way it feels. I hope maybe it's a little bit faster, I want to say, just not a whole lot, just a little bit faster, but overall, like I really think it feels good to play. So yeah, so we're gonna what do you guys want to see the Division keep in terms of what the first game did well and what the first game didn't do well? What do you want to see them keep?
I liked their gear, like their gearing system. Like I thought the gearing system was pretty cool. Like obviously it's kind of played a little bit like Diablo, and you had like white gear, the green gear, blue, and then I think purple, and then it was legendary. Like that was pretty cool that they had it work that way, and you could work. I didn't feel like the legendaries were unattainable. You know what I mean? That's what I also liked about it. Like I felt like you could, if you put some time in, you could earn like a legendary. I didn't feel like it was like World
Destiny,
of Warcraft.
where it was so like RNG, where
right, like you needed RNG Jesus to be like, praise you can have your stuff, like World of Warcraft, where it's like a 0.01% chance of dropping. And then not only that, like before they fixed all of their drop, like in vanilla WoW, where it was like you got to fight like 3 other rogues to get that piece for that rogue or whatever, or hunter or paladin. And it's just like, it's nice that they have that tiered system built in, but it's accessible. Like they built it in, but they made it accessible. That's what I like. I also like the different areas, like being leveled. Like when you first start, you got that hospital. You can go to the hospital and you get, or not the hospital, but the trauma center that was in like the quote unquote Spectrum Center or whatever. Yeah. And it's like you can go in there and run around and shoot stuff and keep running that instance until you get better and better loot and kill the boss and get gear. And so it was cool that they had the different quote unquote instances or dungeons, if you want to call them, around on the map that you could go to and find one that would work for you to grind to get better gear. Yeah. So
I like how natural it felt to move into one of those quote unquote dungeons too. Just okay, I'm gonna go to Madison Square Garden to
that's what it was. Yeah.
Take on this thing, but it felt natural. You just walk in like you would if you were going to a basketball game there, and like well, not really, but you know what I mean. Like you just walk in and you go in, and instead of a basketball game going on, there's all these carts and medical equipment and clean rooms.
Because it became a trauma center. Yeah, during the incidents leading up to you playing the game. So, and that, from my understanding, the Madison Square Garden one was the first instance you could go into. So
yeah.
I like the gear, but it might have been me. I want the numbers more simplified. Yeah, I don't need my DPS to be 270,300 and my toughness at 368,000 for like really like are we like do the numbers have to be that like maybe almost not go Destiny light level but simplify it where it's like maybe there's different like keep the numbers to like within
1,000
only
say the cap's at like 1,000 or 2,000. You know, like, why is it got to be, like you said, like 330,000 for your toughness? And you're
like in a way, I get it because you can really see like a minute change. Like if it goes up only 10, you could tell that. But like, there's got to be a better way to do it where, because it's like you're on, especially when you're like on the fly in a mission, you get a break and you want to look at your stuff. It's like hard, you have to like sit there to really dig into what's good, what's not.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jesse.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I wonder if they could almost do like a stat level thing where you could see like your stat levels change and improve or decrease, like with the equipping of certain things. You know, like how trying to think, like, well, I mean, like in Call of Duty and stuff, like when you have guns, like when you add an attachment, it will show the improvement of your accuracy going up. Yeah, like that kind of stuff. Like, I wonder if they could almost do something like that. Like, you know, like where they could still show you an increase in your abilities and like the, you know, like the power and like stopping power of your outfits or the, you know, like the movement to the mobility of your outfits and things like that. Like have something like that would kind of be interesting.
Yeah, because I actually loaded up the game last week briefly, and I had an item that was like 2,000 better, but looking at the stats, I lost all the bonus XP. But it's not clear if you're just going by that one stat. Like, I think they could do a better job of making it clear what you lose, what you don't.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Jason. I wish the numbers weren't so like. Why do they need to be that high? You know, like why do they need to be like 100,000 when, you know, that is one thing that I kind of like about Destiny, where it's like, okay, I understand that this gear is better because it's adding 3 to my defense or it's adding 3 to my power. You know, like I do like that, and you know the cap right now is 650, and that's fine, right? You know, like, okay, I get it. Like you can go. There should be like a separate stat where like, okay, the DPS of this assault rifle type weapon compared to this, you know, DMR type weapon compared to this burst rifle type weapon. Like you can go into like a separate category and say, okay, this does this much DPS per second or DPS, but this has, you know, maybe this has a higher rate of fire or a lower rate of fire, but it does more power. Like you can go in and compare weapons that way, and that way your DPS score isn't so high, you know.
Actually, one thing though, like with the comparing, I kind of wish that they would kind of streamline a little bit and make it where, like, instantly when you want to compare it, it pulls up all the weapons that you have, and you could just like flip through like and pick which one you want to compare like instantly, so you're not having to futz around with that and like, you know, go through and I you know want to compare it to this one. And
well, I think they just need to do something where it's kind of like, you know, like taking from another game like Diablo. You pick up a piece of loot from Diablo, and you have the 3 stats. You have your DPS, you have your defense, and you have your health, and then you have the green arrows accordingly. And like when I pick up a piece of armor in Diablo, I might get like 1 green arrow up in whatchamacallit, in attack power, but if my defense and my health are down, I'm not going to use that. Like I need 3 green arrows across the board, and then I'll upgrade. You know what I mean? And like that's how I work. But I can understand the system that they're putting in front of me, and that's the way I want to work. But someone else might be like, well, hey, any green arrow is good. You know what I mean? And if it's got a green arrow, I'm going to equip it. And they can work that way if they want to. But I agree with you where I wish they would put a simpler comparing mechanism into the game. Like when you're looking for your gear. and stuff.
Yeah, I think early on it's like sometimes you'll just take a green arrow wherever you can get it, just because like you know how certain like guns, like you can only unlock its full potential if you have a certain level of you know tech, or you have the, you know, because remember how there was like certain, you could unlock a special ability of the gun if you had
because it had
levels
like tier,
of
like
things.
you would get it like right off the bat. You had a talent you would get right off the bat, and then you had a talent you would get if you were a certain level with one of your three, what was it, like electronics, health, and defense or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, I guess I could see like maybe that's why like the, you know, like, but again, like at a certain point, I'm sure that stuff won't matter as much, because you know, like once you get a really high level, I would imagine a lot of that stuff you're gonna be able to use regardless. But
yeah. Another thing I really liked were the different types of side missions that you could go in and do. Like I thought that really kind of, you know, you're making your way to your next safe house or your next main mission or whatever, and you open up your map and there's like 5 or 6 side missions that you could do along the way, and you can just kind of knock them out while you're on your way to your next safe house or whatever. I really like that aspect to it. You know, I hope they change it up a little bit, but I did like that aspect a little bit too. But anything else you guys want to see saved from the first game? You know, or you know,
I think all the content we got at the end, they have to go opposite of Destiny. We need that. Like, sure, when you first load it up on whatever March, whatever date it is, you're not going to be doing the raid, but we shouldn't have to wait. Like, it should be in there. So if people are, like, you know, there's people who that first weekend they'll already be raiding, but we shouldn't, like Destiny. I felt like Destiny 1, they did it right at the end, but then they kind of backtracked in Destiny 2, and we had to wait for the content. You already know people want the content. Put it in the game right from the get-go. Add more after.
Yeah,
but
like all the basic stuff.
We shouldn't have to wait.
All the basic stuff should be in there. Like the extra content, like the basic stuff should be in there. I agree with you. Like the way that Destiny 2 came along, like they took out Prison of Elders, they took out, you know, Iron Banner for a while, they took out Trials of Osiris, they took out all these like really basic modes that people like, and they still aren't back. You know, like Trials of Osiris, they took it out again, still not back. Prison of Elders doesn't exist anymore. You know, like just these really basic features that people want just aren't there. And you lose players, because if you hit max level and the content's not there, they're going to move on
to a different game. And a portion may come back, but you're not going to get everyone to come back.
Yeah, like you need to keep the content there, like you said, release it all at once. Maybe you can't do the raid day one, but you can at least do it after a week of playing. But at least it's there. It's not like Destiny, where it's like, we got the raid coming, guys, and people are sitting around twiddling their thumbs, and it's like, well, I'll go, you know, level another character. Most people, like me personally, if that happens, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna go do something else. I've got other games I need to play, so I'm not gonna level another character.
Yeah,
you know, and unless I get if it's content that comes with the game that I bought, I'll probably come back to it. But then if it's like some, like, we're, you know, Destiny 2's like, hey guys, you know, or, you know, all our content isn't coming till the next year with Forsaken. So yeah, I mean, kind of did the same thing, did you dirty, just like we did with the first Destiny. So
yeah, and like Destiny. Sorry, go ahead. Destiny's still like, it's still in this weird place where like Black Armory and the Forge aren't really knocking anybody's socks off right now. You know, we're kind of back in that same situation we were last year, where like everybody was like, oh my gosh, they actually pulled off a decent campaign. Oh man, there's a cool raid. And like this time around, they had 2 raids right from the start. You know, like you unlock the Dreaming City, you get that raid, and then Black Armory brought a raid with it. But
yeah,
at the same time, it's like, well, you know, the Forge, which is supposed to be their weekly ongoing thing where you kind of build and build and build and progress through it, nobody really cares for it, and you're back to that situation where like, well, this is all I can do because I can't go back and do the Warmind stuff because I'm way too powerful for it. I can't go back and do the Curse of Osiris in-game content because I'm too powerful for it. You can't go back and replay like main missions of the campaign, so like you're stuck with Crucible, you're stuck with Gambit, you're stuck with running strikes, and if you're lucky enough to have a clan or whatever, like maybe you'll be raiding, but at the same time it's like the in-game content people want still isn't there. People aren't going to keep coming back to your game once a week just to raid once or twice.
Yeah.
So I hope they have continuing events and continuing content flowing, and not just kind of settle on these big expansion drops. But I want like incremental content coming, maybe every two weeks, maybe every 3 weeks. Switch up,
because they gotta. I mean, when they give you content, they gotta give you time to grind through that content. So
yeah,
there's that too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like you said, like every 2-3 weeks. So like here's a drop of some stuff. Maybe they'll give a raid or something, and you'll have time to like gear up and move through it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that'd be cool.
And like I kind of hope. This is kind of a big stretch, but I kind of hope they do what they did with For Honor, with like the different faction systems, where like, okay, this faction is taking over this territory this week, and this is where like the main events are happening, and you got to prevent this group from taking over this area this week. And then they have like a whole set of missions or objectives throughout the world to help you achieve that by the end of the week or 2 weeks or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think
kind of like they did in Saints Row too, like where you've got like certain areas are like being held up by certain factions, and then you gotta go and clear them out in that area to take it over or whatever.
Yeah,
like you could have that, like something like that they like a system like that they put in where like what if you clear an area with your friends or whatever, so, not to compare it to Pokemon Go, but like where like how you have gyms, like when you're in control of a gym, you're like gaining XP from that. Like you would like if you would clear an area like with a certain faction, like you hold it for a certain period of time. Like it would be something maybe in the Dark Zone, like where like where other people can come in and try to take it over. And like have like a constant battle of trying to hold it for like XP or certain loot. Like once you reach a certain amount of XP, you can get like special loot that you get or something like that. Like they could have something cool like that they put in it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like that was the main draw of the first game too, right? Was the Dark Zone. And
yeah,
over time they kind of learned how to manage it, but I don't think it ever got to where they thought like, okay, it's a cool concept of PvP VE content, but I don't know if it ever really got to where they kind of wanted it to be or expected it to be. Do you think they're going to change up the Dark Zone style things, or do you think they're going to kind of run with what they've got already?
I don't know.
I wouldn't mind seeing.
It's hard to say.
I wouldn't mind seeing if you enter alone, your instance different than like if 4 people are on a team and enter.
Yeah. Like where it would be almost similar to like the
solo players. So like solo players don't have to deal with like 4 people. What's to stop them from immediately going rogue and killing the one person? Like the person's not going to fight back. I mean, they can fight back, but they're not going to kill 4 of them. So it'd be kind of cool if they can instance it in a way where if you enter as a team, or do something where just to kind of balance it a little.
So similar to like the battle royal modes in games now, like where you can choose to like go and do a battle royal where it's just solo, where everyone in there is a solo person, and you only have to worry about yourself and the other people who are also by themselves. Or you can go in as duos, or go in as a squad. Yeah, that would, like, if they were to set it up like that, that would be perfect, I think.
Because you can easily leave the dark zone. It's not like it's a complicated thing. So you exit, like say your friend signs on, exit, joins you, gets there, you both go in as a team then. But I think because if you're going in solo, sure, people can work together, like they might be in a party chat, but it's designed to be solo, so.
Yeah.
Well,
I think, and also if they scale it, they don't do more damage because they're in a party. You know what I mean? It's still, hey, it's just, you might be working as teams, but at least you're not overpowering the person to an extent. They at least have a fighting chance. When they're trying to, because that was the one deterrent for me, continually playing the game, was the dark zone. It's just, it got frustrating. The griefing was annoying. I think they need to work out a better system of, okay, if you're, I think if you're going to go rogue, you need to punish that person. If they go rogue, okay, well, you get half health. Okay, you want to be an asshole and you want to grief people, well, you get half health, and now everybody can hunt you down and kill you a lot faster than you can kill them. I think that was the problem, because people would get so overpowered, and then they'd go rogue, and it's nobody could ever stop them, because there was no negative effect on that player as far as going rogue. Everybody was hunting them, but that doesn't mean shit. So what, man? Because if you're super OP, everybody can come at you and you can still kick their ass. There needs to be something like a system like Bloodborne or Dark Souls, where if you invade somebody, you're at a disadvantage. So you have to really work to be victorious. So if you want to go rogue, if you want to be an asshole and grief people, well, you can be an asshole and grief people, but people can kill you twice as fast as you can kill them, and everybody can find you in a heartbeat, So it kind of deters people from being dicks.
Or make it up. You go rogue, you're normal. You continue to go rogue for 5 minutes. You get debuffed 10. Just keep.
There's that too.
As you go, yeah. I think. Because I think
the longer you go rogue, are you saying the longer you go rogue, the more debuffs you get?
Yeah, because I think for the first, if you just turn rogue, you see an opportunity, you shouldn't be penalized immediately. But to protect against griefing and camping, then you do it. So if someone just then they do they could take it. Fallout 76 does it. You go, if you're wanted, you do less damage. Everyone knows where you are.
I was actually going to mention that.
But yeah, penalize it, but don't do it immediately. It shouldn't be an immediate penalty.
There's your solution.
You should want rogue agents. I think that adds to it. But when it gets to the point where the guy's a walking tank and he's just sitting at the entrance, killing you as soon as you spawn in, then it gets annoying.
That's trash. Yeah, you're just what am I why would I want to go into the dark zone? So then I gotta go waste time, do something else until maybe that person gets tired of sitting there waiting for me to come in after the 5th time, and then he goes and does his own thing, or he disappears for a while, knowing I'm gonna come back later on. I come back later on. I get 10 minutes into doing what I'm doing, and all of a sudden he shows up out of the blue while I'm engaged with an elite, and then he just shoots me from behind and kills me, and it's well, your game's not fun.
Yeah.
I feel they need to do a better job of balancing it so you feel comfortable running solo, pairs, in a group. You don't have to be okay, I'm going to the dark zone, I need to squad up. We're four of my other friends that are ready to play this game so that I can at least have a snowball chance in hell of actually accomplishing what I want to do tonight.
Yeah. You know what else? What else they could do at least at the entrances to the dark zone? They could have a little safe area, they
could have turrets. Yeah, like you said, have a safe area where you can't attack past a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know there's the little buildings that you go into, and get health and items you can purchase and stuff in there, but there needs to be outside, because like people can camp outside those doors when you go back out, like you guys said, and just straight up murder you as you're coming out of the door. And like walking out the doors in those that game is just so obnoxiously slow. You know, I mean, it looks cool, but it's just like, just let me out, man. Just let me out.
Like, this guy's shooting me like he's put 10 bullets into me by the time I actually get through the door, you know?
Or give you like a safe spawn timer, the way that a lot of multiplayer games do, you know, where like, okay, for 15 or 20 seconds, I can run around and, you know, maybe I can't hit anybody, but at least I'll be able to get away from these guys that have gone rogue already.
Well, and what about the dead zones that they have in the game? Like when you get into certain areas of the like your main base and stuff, you know, when you're walking through that clean off entrance, your weapon and everything gets put away, and all you can do is walk.
Yeah,
like you know, like it should almost do that. Where there's a certain space that once you get in there, no one can pull out a weapon or use a weapon on anyone. Like you can basically just walk to the different places where maybe you want to buy things or whatever in there, and that's about it, or leave. And you know, once you get to a certain point, people just can't do anything to you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna kind of move into the last segment here. What do you guys want the Division to pull from other games? What do you like from other games that you would like to see? What? Moose is raising his hand like a...
He's got his hand.
I'm just ready to go, man. I'm like, I got some stuff.
What do you want to see pulled from other games? You know, we've got all these great games as a service. Like Fortnite's kind of doing the right thing. I think Overwatch is doing it well. I think, you know, Call of Duty has an interesting way of doing these games as a service thing. What do you want to see from the Division pull from these other games?
I would like to see them. They're probably going to do a battle royale mode.
Yeah,
okay.
I kind of feel that
and we've had this discussion. Jason might have been in the party, but I know I've had it with multiple people in my parties while I'm playing Blackout. Like it would be, I feel they could take it to the next level by saying, okay, well, we're going to do a battle royale. But our battle royale is different because not only, you know, like you can drop in and play, so they get like 50 people to queue up and they do their battle royale, you know, whatever. They pick an area and that, like, you know, you pick an area of the town and this is how you enter the battle royale. Do the battle royale, but if you win or if you place, like you get different prizes that actually go back into your game.
Yeah, like, so if you're like the top 30, you get like a bronze style prize. Top 20 silver, top 10 gold, and then if you finish, if you win, you get like a platinum prize that everybody's coveting.
Or you get like a legendary weapon. Like encourage people to play your battle royale, because like when we were playing battle royale, I was like, man, that'd be cool if they came out here with a mode and they were like, you know, we were talking. I was like, anything you pick up, like you have that queuing area. You know, like you drop in Blackout and you can pick up like whatever you want. You can start shooting people. You can pick up. If they did a mode where they were like, anything you pick up in the queuing area goes with you when you drop in Blackout. Well, people will just start running around and start picking stuff up, and they, you know, instead of just like standing there doing nothing. So like it would create this like urgency to like run around while you're waiting for people to queue up to pick up items. You have your bandages, you've got your armor, you've got like an assault rifle, you know, like whatever. Like you got stuff, and you can immediately carry that into your battle royale instead of like, okay, well now I got to drop out of the plane and I need to find something. You know what I mean? Like you already have it. You don't feel like like you're at a disadvantage. So I think it would be cool if they mixed up, you know, like they added that and they mixed it up a little bit.
I think they can use that dead zone area when you enter the dark zone where there's the vendors and everything, and then almost do it like Splatoon, where when you do the what's the timed event that's every other day? Jesse and Corey, help me.
Oh, the like the horde mode style thing. Mode.
So basically, you queue up in the dead zone, and then so it's like part of the dark zone, but it's a separate thing, and then. Yeah. You can go to the vendor and it kind of it's separate. It's not like Blackout where you have the preload, you drop it. Like obviously don't do a helicopter drop-in. Everyone's done that. The plane, everyone parachutes. Kind of just the way you would do it is you pick your dark zone entrance, but you don't see anyone if you queue up. So it's not like, oh, there's 30 people here. Let's go to a different entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they could do. I think because they already have the dark zone, so it's just it's easy to implement. Don't do 100 because
make it like 50 or
you could probably
20.
do 50. You could even 20
or 30. Like make it 30, and
you could do 30. You could do 30 with limited. Like everyone gets one respawn too.
Yeah.
You don't have to do. You die, you're done.
Because you could sit there and say, okay, singles is like 30, and then maybe doubles and squads is like 50 or something. Like make it or whatever, or 60, or like try and make it divisible by the number so you have the right amount of teams if you're going to do squads. Because Jeff, me, and Jason are obviously getting the game, so we're going to play through it. Well, we might be squatting up one night and be like, let's go do the PvP. Let's do the battle royale. Because, just like, hey, I need like a really good legendary weapon. Well, we can try and work through getting a legendary weapon for him. You know what I mean? And
you know what I think they could actually do too for it is that, like, when you get a kill in that mode, you could get a one free random reroll of any of your weapons that you're using. That could possibly give like up your stats on that gun, like when you get kills, like to. So then that way, like it's forcing people to want to get kills to try to get to the instead of like in Blackout,
it makes them aggressive,
stuff like that. Yeah,
makes them aggressive.
Usually, in Blackout, Fortnite, a lot of people will camp and wait until they're in the final, couple of people. So then that way, like they can try to hopefully, like just stay quiet and stay, hidden for a while until later. Whereas this way, then it's forcing people to kind of want to be more aggressive and actually, better you if you do get kills instead of just hiding the whole time.
It could also be like a quote unquote it could be a multiplayer currency. Like instead of like allowing you get a kill, you earn a certain currency, and then you go back out to the vendor, at the dark zone and turn your currency in, and like you said, it buys you a reroll on it buys you whatever you want. Like you said, it could be like a laundry list. Reroll like the specs on this weapon, reroll the specs on like the handle, the grip or whatever, or the scope, or how much damage this does, and how much my armor protects me. That would make me want to go play it. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be like, hey Jason, Jeff, let's go. Let's team up. Let's get in there. Let's get some kills. So that we can earn some experience towards re-rolling what we already have. So you're playing in the PvP and you're earning stuff for the PvE. Like that is cool. Like I think that is where they can change their quote unquote battle royale or change their game to make it more accessible. Because personally, I'd rather just do PvE. Like I don't want to deal with the dark zone. But if you make it where the dark zone like factors in, and it does it now, but if you do it in a smart way where it factors in more with my PvE, then I'll go do PvP. I think
because in that way, even if you don't win, you're still gaining something from it, from experiencing it. Like you're not obviously gonna get like what as good of a thing that you would get for winning, but you're still bettering yourself.
They could give you a bare minimum where it's like if you just hang out in the match and spectate the match till the end, you get 100 XP towards whatever you're going to re-roll. So, they could work it that way, and it's like, okay, well that makes me want to hang out here and I hate watching the guy that killed me, but usually he's way better than me, so I'm going to watch him finish out the match. Because
they could do that instead of the whole tier system, that the battle passes and those things do.
Yeah.
Like instead of that, like that could be their kind of thing you're working towards, progressing, throughout the games.
Yeah,
I think as rerolls and things like that.
I think, we were talking, Jason mentioned having, like, content available, at release. You may not be able to play at release, but you could work up to it. I think something that needs to be involved is the survival mode. I don't know if y'all have tried that. It was the DLC later on. Like, you had to worry about your thirst, your heat index, your hunger. Like, you had to worry about, like, all that stuff. It would be cool to have that just, hey, it's in our base game. If you want to go play it, play it. If you don't want to, then don't. Like, if they want to have players coming back or create real value for the game, that needs to be in the game from day one. I understand it was DLC because they were trying to build the game initially and, like, figure out where they were going with it. And they're like, okay, well, here's this DLC. Like, well, now they've implemented it into Division 1. It's worked out pretty well. Okay, well, now let's take that, and it's going to be in Division 2 and try and, like, maybe like the Battle Royale mode where it kind of feeds into your PvE of the regular game. Like give a currency. Yeah. Hey, if you survive a certain amount of time, here's this amount of money. Okay, you survive all the way to the end. You actually got on the chopper and got, lifted out of the area. Okay, well, you get a legendary coin that you get to go cash in at a vendor for a legendary weapon of your choosing. And that would be cool. Like, if it's not like, okay, well, it's a legendary machine gun this time, light machine gun this time. Just give me a legendary coin, and I can go pick what I want. I'm gonna be in there, all the time. Like, hey, now I want to get a pistol, so I'm gonna roll in and keep going. Trying to get that coin for a pistol.
Yeah.
So
what else they could do too is to avoid, maybe at the beginning it won't make a lot of sense, or like, but as they start adding expansions and stuff, start scaling the old content up too, or have instances of like, hey, this is the grouping of like characters level 1 through 10 that can do this instance of this activity, and then you move it into like 10 to 15 can go into this instance of the activity. Like, have different levels of the instance, and for the hardcore players, you can have the option of like the heroic modes. Yeah, exactly.
Like WoW. WoW has the heroic mode, or the heroic version. So yeah, which gives you way more loot than if you just, like, a 5-man heroic team would get more loot than a regular 5-man team. So
yeah. So there's a lot of things that I kind of like that we're talking about here. I kind of hope a lot of it is implemented. I like the heroic idea. I like the scaling idea. I really think out of all the properties out there, the Division is built for the Battle Royale mode. I don't think it needs to be 100 people. I think that's the one thing that, talking about Battle Royale and PUBG specifically, just because I think it has the most parallels in terms of third person kind of cover based almost type style game. Like, I think sometimes those games last too long because it's so, I don't know if slow is the right word, but that's the word I'm using. It's slow, right? Like, you're spending, sometimes you go 15, 17, 20 minutes looting without seeing anybody. And I think keeping it small in a condensed area with maybe 50 people would actually make it work, or 40 or whatever.
Making top 20 without even seeing someone. Yeah. And you don't even have a gun, and you're like, oh, he just got a gun. It's like,
well, that's why I liked, Activision implemented the close quarters blackout, which it was basically submachine guns, shotguns, and pistols, and the circle closed twice, like faster, way faster than it normally does. So you were forced to move faster. Like, we were playing that mode, and we were dropping in and picking up gear, and as soon as you pick up a weapon, you're like, I gotta move. Like, I can't check out the rest of the buildings. Like, I've got to go because this circle is going to close behind me. I've had to left some teammates to die because I'm like, I can't get you. Like, I think Jason was one of them.
I think I left you too.
Yeah,
Alan jumped on my quad and I was like, see you, Moose.
You're just like, just like, I can't, like, I've got to go. For us to have a chance to win as a squad, we have got to move.
Jesse left me to die the other day in Blackout.
Yeah, he got sniped. He got sniped off the back of my 4-wheeler or something like that.
No, this was a different mode. Remember when we were like, the circle was closing and we were like, it had passed us and we were sprinting and you found an ATV and I was like maybe 50 meters away from you and somebody shot me from behind and you didn't come back for me. I was like, ah.
Oh yeah, because someone was just hunkering down with a sniper rifle and I'm like, dude, the second I try to revive you, they're just gonna snipe me. It's not even worth it.
I'd be like, I'm sorry, I love you, but bye. I do want to add.
See you in hell.
Yeah. See you in hell. Corey's like, I'll see you in hell, Jesse. But I want them to add a more defined class system. Like, I want them to define, like, okay, you're a heavy. Okay, well, if you're going to pick to be a heavy, I want them to have more defined classes, but also a path to get to that class. Okay, well, this is what you need to do. Okay, you need to go do these instances, earn this gear, and have a good path leading to your end result instead of just like, I've got a mixed modge of like gear on and I don't even know what the hell I am. The only thing I know is like I'm surviving going through the battles I'm through. Like I want them to like have a better step-by-step process for me to say, you know, like obviously, like I said, Jason, Jeff, and I are going to roll together. I'm probably going to pick whatever the other two don't want to be, you know, and like if they've got a support class who deals like, hey, here's some health or here's some ammo, like I'll pick that. Like what is the gear? Like really define and do a good job of setting forth like this is my path to get the gear that I need and not hinder me because I don't have that gear. You know what I'm saying? Like don't kick your player in the teeth because they don't have the gear they need. Like give them a really good path, but also make the path doable, you know?
Yeah.
So, piggybacking on that, so I think they should like, if you pick, say, they do tank, attack, support, everyone still has the same, like, the gear, like the fire, the flamethrower trap, or the healing thing. But, like, if you're the tank subclass, you can take more damage, but you move slower.
Yeah.
Don't do, like, because then it becomes the point where, like, then they have to, there's people complaining, they have to adjust so just make it something simple, like, the tank can take more damage, but he's going to move slower. But then the attacker, but he's not like a glass cannon, but he moves faster. So you're not like, because you don't want, like, oh, this class is overpowered. But then also keep it only for PvE content. Yeah. Don't let that for Dark Zone, because then everyone's picking a tank.
Like
battles take forever.
They need to level out the Dark Zone to the point where like the peaks and valleys just become like a plateau.
Well, they could pull from Destiny where it's leveling is to say like your ability is disabled or everyone's same.
Yeah, because
it's all
I mean,
cosmetic then at that point.
Like if I was looking at the trailer, like from my understanding of the trailer, like you're gonna have like 3 guns. Like, you're gonna have like your pistol, your assault rifle, and then they give you like a heavy weapon or whatever. So there was the one guy that had like the grenade launcher because he was the hard hitter or whatever. And maybe I wasn't, maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention to the trailer. Because I'll be honest, I'm trying to stay dark on the game. Like I don't know anything about the game until I like play it. Because I'm excited for it. Like I really enjoyed the Division. I enjoyed the hell out of the beta. I played the hell out of the regular game. I'm 1 trophy away from the platinum. Me, Jeff, and Jason are going to be playing that to get the platinum. So, but it's just, I want the game to succeed. I want it to do well. I think if they did a Battle Royale mode, it would be very interesting because there's no jump button.
Yeah.
You can only like hoist over cover. Like you can only jump over cover. There's no so it's gonna be very good for me because it's gonna eliminate these jumping motherfuckers in Black Ops.
Oh my god, that's so annoying.
Yeah, because there's a bug. there's a bug in the game right now where if you jump, you have like an extra 2 or 3 frames more than the person that's not jumping does, and that's why people do it.
It's because it's not calculating you running. You're a static character when you jump. So like because Battle Royale or Blackout doesn't run at 60 frames. It's a dynamic frame shifting. So when your character, like the less movement it has to calculate, the more frames it's going to give you.
It's trash. Anyway, I get so mad when I play like kill confirm or safeguard and people are just like jumping like bunnies.
It's like Halo. The Halo.
I'm like,
Halo did that first.
Like when I played Halo and people would start jumping. I'm like, okay, well you have no skill then. You can't kill somebody. Like you're just winning by jumping. It's like that's like pretty skillless. So
spread at me with a shotgun and melee me like a man.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, so
I'd like to see more support for when you play with strangers. So to steal from, I guess, Overwatch, if you group up with randoms, it'll say someone's running the same loadout of specials. Won't prevent you, but like, because like if I play with Moose and Jeff, we can all say, okay, I'm gonna take the healing placement, you take the barrier, you take the flamethrower. Like we try to work it out. Like, oh, we'll do 2 of the turrets, but like if you're with randoms, you might not have party chat on, or you might not want to, but at least you could see like it's clear. Like, oh, you're both running this, or you're both like make it easier to see what the other people are doing. So they may not pay attention, but someone in the group may think, oh, well, nobody has a healing station. Let me do that.
Yeah, Siege does that too. In the loading screen, like when it's starting the match on Siege, you can hit you hit a button and then you can see what everyone's running, like what weapons they're using. Yeah. So it lets you know what your whole entire team is all running, and that's kind of nice for when you're just playing with random people.
Yeah, because you want to increase your chance of you don't want to just run with randoms and know you're going to fail. So you can increase the chance of actually succeeding and not having to worry about, I have to play with people I know or a party chat. I think that encourages a bigger player base, because then you can play solo, so to speak, because you could just join randoms. Or if you play at a time when your friends aren't on, it's kind of like, it doesn't deter you from like, oh, I'll do the group stuff later.
Yeah. Going back to the clear path to gear and whatnot, you know what they could do? They could just be like, okay, you just pick your class and your gear drops for that class. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
the drawback is, what happens if you want to switch classes at some point?
I mean, it's kind of like then they work in a way like WoW can't be the only people that could do, like, you can have multiple specs.
Well, no, but
like,
I'm thinking,
if you
Diablo
look
problem.
If you look at,
like, if you're a demon hunter, you run all these Greater Rift 70, but you only get agility gear, so you can't gear your wizard because you're not getting the drop.
Right, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm only gonna run one type of class.
I think it's gonna be more like what Anthem is doing, where you roll one character, but you can switch loadouts on the fly. Where, like, we were talking about that on Javelins for Hire the other day, where we were talking about, like, we're only gonna have to roll one character, because if Jesse wants to run a ranger, but I'm already running a ranger, I can switch over to the Colossus Javelin, and spec that out the way I need it to for this mission, or if we need something that can fly around and shoot things from a distance, maybe somebody pops into our game and runs as a storm javelin, like,
well,
you can switch on the fly, and I think
the nice thing.
Yeah, didn't the Division 1 do that? Couldn't you just switch your specs on
the
fly?
You can just switch your gear and your loadout. I mean, that's what Final Fantasy 14 does. Final Fantasy 14, you only have one character, and you could play every single class that's in the game. Unlike World of Warcraft, where you need to have a warrior or a death knight or a hunter or a rogue. Like, you need a different character to play those classes. Final Fantasy, you roll one character and you say, I'm gonna be a warrior that's gonna build up to be a paladin, and then hey, all I do is switch my gear and oh god, now I'm a berserker. You know what I mean? Or now I'm a ninja, or now I'm a druid or something like that. Like, I think they could do something like that, like, to build on top of that, Corey, where they're like, okay, well, you all of a sudden get dropped in a random group, and instead of having 2 support classes and an assault class, you could switch your gear if you have it, and you'll have a support, a tank, and an assault class, and just roll through the instance,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I mean, because like that's the one thing I hate about Destiny 2 is like you have to run 3 characters to get everything out of the game, and it's like I don't want to have to do that. I can barely keep up with 1 character at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
It'll really help if as long as you have a plan for these other loadouts. Like, okay, I'm a real tanky character, but a lot of when my friends get on, I need to switch over to the support class because they're jerks and don't want to support me. So
and I think what they could do too is maybe like make that part of the story, like when you're playing. What was that?
What?
I was saying, like, Jesse or Ed, they don't want to support Corey. Like Jesse or Ed. Jesse just was. You got sniped off the back of the ATV, buddy. You're done. Squad goals.
New phone. Who dis?
Who dis?
But yeah, like what I was thinking is like what they could do is like work the changing of the classes throughout the story mode to kind of gradually, work you into understanding that system of like, certain times, like when you're in certain areas of the map, you're gonna want to be like this kind of, setup because it's gonna better you because of the enemies that you're going against, and just things like that can kind of work it into the storyline to help you learn about how that stuff works for later to kind of train you for the dark zone for when you're doing other things,
Well, like you said, working in it'd be cool if they were like, okay, levels 1 through 30 and max levels at 30, like you're just gonna go in and you're gonna, like you said, switch your class on the fly, like for certain areas, but it allows you to gain knowledge on each class or whatever they're going to put out there. And then, like you said, just be like, okay, when you hit 30, you're like, I want to be a tank or I want to be support. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have it also balanced in a way where like, okay, well, if I'm soloing and I'm soloing as a support, I don't suffer because I pick support. You know what I mean? Like, don't, they have to balance their game to the point where it's like, don't make me suffer because I pick support because I like support. Like, allow it to be a sustainable class when I solo.
Yeah,
I don't need other people.
There's a perk. This is gonna be a stretch for you platinum guys, but I promise it makes sense. So on 3DS, there's this little game called Metroid Prime Federation Force. All right.
Oh Jesus Christ!
And that whole game was balanced around having a team, right? It was a multiplayer style game. But if you sold it, they allowed you to have this perk that said it was called One Man Army, and it boosted all of your offensive stats and gave you more defense because you were soloing the missions. And that's something I really appreciated about that game.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, what happens if they pulled from Ghost Recon? You keep building up these. You built up your base. You increased the science wing, the armor. You kept doing that. What happens if the further you got the, what was it, the JTF? If they joined you, if you're solo.
Yeah.
And the more you upgraded to make it feel like not just your base is upgraded, but you can actually have support with you.
Yeah, like you actually, like they're AI, but they're good.
Instead of making you like a walking tank because you're solo, you actually get support, like in Ghost Recon, where they can actually help you out, you can give them orders.
Yeah.
I think the
kind
more
of like
you build up your base, you can actually gear them up. Not like specific, like, oh, give them this weapon, but do like, I want this guy to run the flamethrower turret and this guy to have the health station because I'm going to do the barricade. And you could kind of then have loadouts for the support and just max it out as, what is it, 4 people can play on a team, so max out, you get 3 AI with you.
Yeah, or they could have some kind of setup almost similar to like the kill streaks and Call of Duty, like where you call in the computer,
UAV
the AI controlled foot soldiers and things like that would help you out for a certain period of time, like, and that's something that you would have to work towards, progressing the respawn of it or whatever, like your class stuff. Like when you use a turret, it's a while before you can use it again, the cooldown or whatever. Like have things like that are specific only to solo, like when you're running solo.
Yeah.
And speaking of bases, I'd like to see them, if you when you improve Madison Square Garden, the hubs should also be improved. Like, you know how you built up your science, but you maxed out Madison Square Garden, but the smaller hubs you could fast travel to stayed the same. Maybe they get improvements where you don't have to go back to the garden every single time.
Maybe certain safe houses, as you upgrade them, provide different stats, even if it's for the same thing. So if you're a support guy, right, maybe one safe house you upgrade all the way gives you maximum healing power, right? But there's another one out there that you can go out, okay, support doesn't necessarily just mean healing. I can provide extra ammo bags for my teammates, or maybe I gain access to like a barrier shield that to provide quick cover or something like that,
reinforce cover.
Yeah,
like you can sit there and just boom boom, and like all of a sudden the cover you're at, like you get 25-30% less damage, even if you're out of cover, you know what I mean? Like it's just that would be cool.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to have your safe zones do that.
And I had kind of talked with Corey, I believe, about this on the last episode. Like we had mentioned, one of the things that I kind of wish that they would have done is like when you finish an area and you got the stuff that you needed to upgrade the tech wing or whatever, you had those raid areas. Like whenever you'd finish those big areas, it never really made a difference in the world whether you had finished that or not. And what I think would be cool is if, kind of similar to the whole areas are being controlled by certain factions things. Like when you finish one of those areas, it should be a less of a chance of you having those random encounters in certain areas, like by a whole bunch of people just walking through that are that like the enemies, like actually have a presence of the good people in those areas after you finish it. Yeah, just to help you in certain, like if you even if you do get into a random encounter, there can be guys that will run to your aid to like help you out a little bit. They kind of do that in some areas, but it's usually just for those they were like kind of mission things where you'd have the guys that would be helping you, and you've got to like hold the certain area for a while or whatever, and then you'd move to another area and then have to hold that for a while. Like they should have a better presence of characters like that after you finish things, to feel, so it feels like you've actually accomplished something in an area and you've kind of cleared out the enemies out of that area to let some more of your guys come in that area to help.
Like a Far Cry thing. You take over town, the tower, something. So you kind of, and you, but still allow the randomness. But because you have people, you won't have to necessarily run back there because your people can actually handle it.
Yeah, like they'll be there to help you out, and it won't be after you've made that major accomplishment of clearing an area. You won't have to do everything by yourself anymore in those.
You won't have to like maintain it by yourself.
Yeah,
like people will be there. Like they'll be able to like you won't have to constantly come back to that area, quote unquote, babysit. Like you could actually move on to the next area.
Yeah.
Well, guys, anything else we want to see from the Division before we wrap up this episode? I feel like this is a pretty solid episode.
Yeah.
Amazement. I'm ready.
I think we just built the game for them.
Yeah.
Like I was very pleased with the Division 1. So
yes,
I
ditto.
don't want much
change.
I mean, I want quality of life, but like, there's nothing I hated really.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the one thing I actually really appreciated about the Division was like, even though it was a multiplayer game, it was still a pretty fun single player experience too.
Yeah.
And like I really actually appreciated like if I'm struggling with this mission, if I've died a couple times, I can kind of reload the mission and match make into it also, and people can just come into the mission and play with me without having.
Yeah, that was a great feature. Like you'd approach the entrance and it would say if you wanted to matchmake, it was right there.
Yeah.
You didn't have to like, oh, when I start up, I have to matchmake. You could literally pick and choose when you wanted to.
Yeah.
And I thought that was I wish a lot of games would do that.
Yeah, that was like the biggest complaint about Destiny. Actually, Jesse and I were just talking about this last night about Destiny, where like the reason why a lot of content hasn't been played is because people like a lot of people play it casually or by themselves, and like and I understand like the raids and stuff are really time consuming and really communication heavy things. Yeah. But like for people just to try it, like a matchmaking option could have been nice, Yeah.
Better one.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
Go
ahead, Jesse.
Oh, I was gonna say the only complaint that I have about the first one, and I think they've said that they were gonna be changing that, is the bullet sponge stuff of the feeling of the characters. That's really the only thing that they honestly would have to change, in my opinion, and I'd be perfectly fine with whatever they did after that. But
their problem with that was like they built the game to be like an MMO.
Yeah.
And MMO, they're sponges, but people didn't understand that. They were trying to approach it because
it's a military shooter on the outside.
Yeah,
and it's really like Destiny and WoW and stuff can get away from that because like Destiny, you're shooting aliens. WoW, it's a mystical kind of thing, and you kind of know what you're going into.
I understand. You're shooting humans in the head. I understand what you're saying, Corey.
No, I'm just saying.
I agree with that 110%. And they're gonna fix it, and I hope.
Well, I think in the Division, what I said at the top of the show, I think the Division 1 has come around and kind of done that now too.
Yeah.
Where like
with all the updates they have. Yeah. And I think even now, if you play the Division and do stuff in the Division, it carries over to the Division 2.
Yeah, if you do certain things, you get the shields and stuff, which unlock things in the Division 2, which is really cool.
Right.
Which is another reason why I kind of want to get back to it before the Division 2 comes
Ditto.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think after we do Far Cry 5, we're gonna Jason, Jeff, and I are gonna try and knock out the Division before it drops, because we want to try and platinum that. Like I said, I got one freaking trophy. I've got one trophy left, so. I gotta help them get through it, and then we're gonna tackle that and try and platinum it before the Division 2 drops. But I'm excited for it. I'm picking up Resident Evil 2 later this month just because I love Resident Evil 2. But Division 2 will be the first, like, of the March games. It'll be the first game that I pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Jesse. I mean, besides the Nintendo stuff. Because we run the Nintendo channel, like I'm going to be very picky about what I pick up for Xbox and PlayStation this year, and like Anthem is kind of like the main thing that I'm really interested in, but like the Division is the only other game this kind of first half that I'm really like aching to play. Like I can't wait for the Division. So
They did a great job with the first one. Obviously, it stumbled a little bit, but they fixed some issues. They added some content. They redid some things. So if they can come out of the gate with a Division 2, like with what they learned from the Division 1, I think it'll be solid. I think the initial game will be really solid, and then, like we said, they could build on that. You know, like say, okay. I mean, if you look at EA with Battlefield 5, like they're like all DLC is going to be free, and they're going to be adding a battle royale mode in March, and it's like March, like really, you're waiting till March? But anyways, your competition already has their battle royale out,
and then you're putting it out against like
I'm
another
like,
an EA published game, an Anthem, and B, the Division, which is like I think the Division is just gonna eat its lunch.
I think so too. I really think so too. The only people that'll go play the battle royale mode in Battlefield 5 are the people that like own it. Nobody's gonna be buying Battlefield 5 to play the battle royale mode.
Yeah.
But I just think it's if they could build on what they've done in Division 1, I think Division 2 will be an extremely solid game.
Yeah,
like I think it's looking to be anywhere between like an 8.5 and a 9, on everybody's scale, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. I'm probably gonna play it day one. I'll probably take the day off, depending what day of the week it is. I'll take that day off and start at midnight the night before.
Yeah,
yeah. I've been waiting for this game since like just forever. I think next to Siege, it's probably the my favorite thing that they that Ubisoft or whatever does. So
yeah,
and it,
69 days left.
Nice.
When is the release date, Jason?
March 15th.
March 15th. What day of the week is that? I'm sorry.
I think it's a Friday.
It's before my birthday.
Calendar.
I think the 15th is a Friday.
Well,
March 15th is a Friday.
I will be taking that Friday off.
Yeah,
because February 22nd is a Friday, and March and February have the same days on the calendar this year.
Oh, well, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Hey, man, I'm running the Anthem podcast here too, so I'm trying to gauge everything in a.
Isn't Sekiro like isn't that like one of those weeks in March too?
It's the week after.
So it's like the 22nd.
Yeah.
And then PAX East is the week after that.
The 29th?
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
I want to go back to PAX so bad.
Me and Jeff.
I would have gone with you, but this baby had to come out, so.
Well, I wanted to go, but I've got 2 weddings to go to in October, so I need the time for something else.
Yeah.
So, well, not October, but in the fall. But I think it's going to be good, and that's the right time to deliver a game like this. Is in the spring, put it out. You don't have to contend with Call of Duty because Call of Duty is going to have a game coming, in October, November. You don't have to worry about dealing with that shooter. You don't have to worry about dealing with whatever. A lot of surprises that come out for the fall. Yeah. Like, oh, hey, our game is automatically going to be released in the fall, So,
yep.
Like, hey, Last of Us 2, drop it in October. You know what I mean? For us PlayStation people, well, y'all might get a Halo this year.
No, we're getting Gears this year.
Getting Gears this year? Halo's not this year?
Halo's going to launch with Scarlet next year, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be the console straddler this year. Or next year, it's gonna be on one.
Oh, it'll be on both.
Yeah. So I think Gears, Crackdown and Gears are gonna be kind of like the last 2 kind of major in whatever Forza game decides to come out this year. Because those games come out like clockwork every September. So
like for games like that, like Forza, I tip my hat to that developer. I tip my hat to the Santa Monica team that does MLB The Show. But like to put a quality game out like that year over year, not even like every other year, like every year they're putting out solid games. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like you could always be like, hey, I haven't played a racing game in a while. You could pick up a solid racing game in the fall. You know, that's cool.
Yeah, I think,
got to give them props. They're doing fucking better than Tiburon with Madden. Madden's like garbage.
Don't get me started.
We've had this conversation. Give me Madden 2002 on my Switch.
Madden remastered.
Yeah.
Corey knows how I feel about all this. I just want NFL 2K to come back because that was way better of a game anyway. The 2K series was so much better.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be lit. It's going to be a good game as long as they build off of what they've already done. And then, obviously, like Jason said, quality of life. Add a good quality of life to it, and I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah. Don't fix what isn't broken, and just add some,
polish.
things for
apply the polish where it's needed, and don't where it's not.
Yeah. All right, so. We went a little bit longer than a half hour. That's fine. Next week,
an hour and a half.
Yeah, I know. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about what we want to see from updated style incursions, and they did drop the big bomb at E3 about raids. They are adding raids to the division. I think they said they're going to be 8-man raids. So I guess we'll talk about what we want from them and see if they can out Destiny in their raids. So
they don't really have to do much to out Destiny.
Well, yeah. I mean, dude, to be honest, I don't think Destiny's had a great raid since King's Fall. So and I've played all of them except for whatever the newest one is. So yeah. I mean the Wrath of the Machine raid, which was in the Rise of Iron, was solid, but that was the last good raid, I think. I didn't care for Leviathan at all. I thought it was super buggy, and just some of the shots that killed you were super cheap, and it's don't get me started. We'll talk about that on Tower Casuals at some point. But anyways, this has been Dark Zone Junkies. You can find Dark Zone Junkies on Sunday nights on NGRradio.com and on the Dark Zone Junkies YouTube channel. That's right, it exists. You can find Division gameplay there from all of our teams and everything. So you can go there and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at Dark Zone Junkies. You can email us if you have a question, comment, or idea at darkzonejunkies@gmail.com. And of course, download Nerds Gone Platinum, our PlayStation podcast, to hear more about the Division from these guys, and Arsenal X, our Xbox podcast. You can go to ngrradio.com for all of our content. Subscribe to all of our channels. And until next week, we're out.
Peace.